So hopefully everyone's familiar with what Bitcoin is and at least like heard of it, internet money. And it's powered by something called the blockchain. And something that our panelists have been alluding to is that the blockchain can do so much more than just be money, right? And so I'm curious, what are some interesting projects you've seen which maybe demonstrate how a blockchain can be used beyond just being Bitcoin, digital gold, stuff like that?
Well, a really good example is actually something we were talking about just before coming up on stage, which is a network called Decentraland. And what it does is it's creating this virtual world. Some of you may know about a game called Second Life that existed for a while or has been around for a while, where it's this sort of trying to create a virtual world that mimics the real world. Decentraland is doing that, except that they're using blockchains to create scarcity in the land. And going back to what blockchains allow us to do, they allow us to create these assets that are digitally scarce and programmable. What they've created is a network and a protocol where once you enter this virtual world, the land is provably scarce. And what that means is that now that land can have value just as land can have value in the real world because it is scarce. And so that is one example of what the creative things that we can do with this technology. And what's interesting about Decentraland is that all they need to do is create the platform and create the economics or the economic incentives for people to go and speculate on this virtual land and actually build VR worlds, virtual reality worlds in this virtual world. And over time, hopefully what we'll see is a lot of creativity and a big network of people creating and participating in this world. Kind of similar to a movie some of you may have seen called Ready Player One, where everyone sort of lives inside this reality. What's different, however, is that in the movie Ready Player One, that virtual world, which is called Oasis, is controlled by a single company, and that's kind of part of the problem. But with Decentraland, because it's built with a blockchain, there isn't a single company that's in control of the entire world, but rather the people and the community who make part and who build this digital reality are the ones who are empowered to control it and change it and evolve it over time.
Yeah, I think this notion of how do you have ownership because of the scarcity, like how can you contribute assets that you have, or how can you earn money? We think in the real world, like if you own a real estate asset, that's something that has value. You put money in and then maybe you can earn money back from having it. So with digital goods, that's very hard to do. Most of the time it's a one-way. You put money in and you don't get any value back. So just thinking about, what if you could earn upside because you're tweeting more and you're adding to the value of the network? Or if you, if you watch Silicon Valley, the kind of file storage example gets used there a lot of, I have excess capacity of computing power, how can I contribute that to a network and actually use that as an asset that generates money or tokens back? So I think it's thinking about other ways that people can earn from what they care about and where they contribute, both their time and their money and their assets. So we're investors in Filecoin, IPFS. They are thinking about, doing the AWS on blockchain. So if you have excess capacity, you can contribute, you can earn money from that. And then if you're a developer looking for decentralized storage, you can take from that. So it's more peer-to-peer than a centralized system.
A project I'll highlight, which you can actually immediately download and play with this right now in real life. It's called Rise. It's an app. It's a live video streaming platform. It's very similar to the social media platform example I gave earlier. You go on Rise, you broadcast sort of a live activity, generate excitement and attention into the network, and you get rewarded in tokens. And then you can immediately, in the future actually, not immediately now, you can exchange those tokens for monetary value on an exchange. And so that's the idea of this, creating an intention economy. You don't have to do much more, to Brittany's point, than just to participate and generate sort of a positive good for this economy.